Good morning. I'm Pomona Mayor Tim Sandoval. Team Hope, walking in the shoes of the children, were a couple of phrases that we heard this morning. And I think that all of us who are sitting here and standing feel a lot better about the environment that the children are coming into in a short time. Before I jump into my remarks, I want to share that we will begin with English remarks, followed by English Q&A. After that, we will turn it over to remarks in Spanish, followed by Spanish Q&A. I want to welcome you to the Pomona Fairplex. This morning, a group of elected officials, community and union leaders, members of the media, and I took a tour of the facilities that will serve as an emergency intake site for unaccompanied minors. In a moment, a few of our dignitaries will say a few words. Over the past 12 months, I am proud to say that this campus, a place I've been coming since I was a kid for food and fun, has stepped up to serve our region. First as a COVID-19 quarantine and testing site, and more recently as a vaccine site. And I'm going to say this a couple of times, but this campus has saved lives. This campus that you are on today has saved lives. Now today we stand together to welcome and care for the children as we work to reunite them with their families. We are committed to their safety and care. As I shared the last time I was here, I'm the father of a baby boy. Last Friday, he turned a year old. I can't begin to imagine what it would be like to be separated from him. It would devastate me and my wife. We have an obligation as compassionate human beings to do everything we can to get these children home to their loved ones. Pomona and all of us here are committed to doing just that. So I thank you. Now at this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors Chair Hilda L. Solis, Supervisor for the 1st District, to share some words with you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos dias. Want to thank really our Mayor of Pomona, Tim Sandoval, for welcoming us again here to Pomona Fairplex and to the great city of Pomona. Words can't even begin to express how grateful we are as a country that we can come to places like this and that we can have policies and individuals at the highest realms to help provide dignity and respect to these young children, many who will make their homes here in Los Angeles County. 2,500 can be accepted here. Tomorrow we'll see 250 children from the ages of 7 to 14 arrive. And I want to especially thank the Fairplex, and I want to thank HHS, I want to thank FEMA, I want to thank all our federal partners, but I especially want to thank the individuals that have come together today as a community, the community-based organizations that are going to be here helping day in and day out to help our children. And I say our children because they are our children. I also especially want to thank the leadership of the elected officials that are joining us here today. I am deeply honored to have some of my good friends that I have been working with for many years, and they, in and of itself, have done so much to help protect our families, our immigrant families, and our children. I'm very honored to have Congresswoman Judy Chu, who you will hear from. Also, Congressmember Jimmy Gomez, who's a longtime friend as well. And I'm particularly happy that we have Assembly Member Majority Leader Eloise Gomez-Reyes joining us, as well as our Mayor, Tim Sandoval, who's a good friend, a compadre. I also want to acknowledge Bonnie Preston, representing Region 9 for HHS. She's been an incredible partner in the last few weeks here. I also want to thank Pomona Unified School District Superintendent Richard Martinez, who we are entrusting with the education and care for our children and has agreed to partner. And I want to recognize one of the board members representing Pomona Unified, Dr. Roberta Perlman, has joined him here. Our partners, HHS and FEMA, and obviously the great leadership here at the Pomona Fairplex. I can't begin to tell you how you have saved many, many lives and how you will help to send these children off to be reunified with family members and perhaps even with new family. I can't tell you how blessed we are to be here. I especially want to thank the leadership of Cherokee Federal that has agreed to undertake this leadership role in conjunction with the Department of Health and Human Services. They are the partners that are contracting for the services to provide the care for the children. We're also joined by some tremendous partners that have represented our communities in so many different capacities. I want to thank Alma Family Services for being here and providing the case management that is so sorely needed for these children. They are going to be the ones that will be contracted with directly through Cherokee Federal. I want to thank our immigrant partners, Chirla, Carecen, Immigrant Defenders. These are legal aid type of providers that will help our children to reunify with potential family. Also, I want to thank the Inland Coalition of Immigration Justice, the Pomona Economic Opportunity Center, and so many others. It has really, truly been a partnership and an opportunity to be able to partner with each and every one of those representatives that are here, and the many that will come, because they will hear about the good things that are happening and will be encouraged to provide support. It's been exactly 4 weeks since we announced this opening, and the White House notified the local regional elected officials. When we talked about the possibility of coming to Pomona Fairplex and serving as an emergency intake center, I knew in the back of my mind that this would be a safe and a temporary facility, because we don't have an intention to keep those children here long. They'll be reunified and unified with family members. But also the mission here is to provide whatever support we can once those children come into our arms. And I just can't, again, reiterate how important it is for us to be alongside with these children and help them in our community. As a daughter of immigrants myself, I know how very important it is to be open and accepting of people of different cultures and particularly different languages. Not all of the children here speak Spanish. Some will speak different dialects and different abilities, and all will have different educational abilities. Maybe this will be for some the first time that they are able to enter into a classroom, and that service has to be so important, along with providing them with mental health services, trauma-informed services, and making sure that they get the best medical attention here. And I'm so deeply proud that HHS is partnering with the County of Los Angeles, the Department of Health Services, Department of Children and Family Services, as well as our Office of Immigrant Affairs and many other departments that willingly said they were going to step up to help. Those services will be provided alongside with the many providers that are going to be here. But I will say to you that we will have many, many volunteers from the County of Los Angeles who've already agreed to step up and provide services here. I want to tell you that these children, as you know, have endured abuse, persecution, deep poverty, and violence. And they are seeking simply refuge. Here in the United States, and like so many of our ancestors, they come to this country seeking a better way of life and hope. And that's why I'm so happy that the themes that we're seeing throughout this facility are about hope and esperanza. Those are the words that we have to hold close to. We have a lot of work to do. There will be a lot of individuals that will help provide support here. What I like best about this facility is that children will be able to recreate. We just toured the facility. There are about 4 soccer fields here, unlike any other place or any other facility that I have heard of. They're also going to be able to have outdoor dining provided with 3 meals with nourishment and also nutrition. That's going to be very critical. Along with the recreational areas that are available, there'll be lounging areas, there'll be plenty of toys, books, obviously, and they'll be exposed to mentors, young people like themselves who may have a story to tell as well that they came here perhaps as unaccompanied minors. I think the beauty here is that we want to strengthen and empower these young people. So very important to do that. Along with that, we are going to be partnering with our local artists, not just from Pomona, but from LA County, to also create space so that people can express their artistic abilities and welcome our children. We have so much here to offer in the city of Pomona, but as well as LA County. And I can't tell you how pleased I am to do that. I'm happy that Pomona Unified School District is partnering with LA County Office of Education to also provide instruction. Believe me, many of these children are going to learn how beautiful it is to be able to read and hear and understand that they are just going to be a part of our fabric of life for many years to come. This is going to be a comfortable environment. We just toured where they will also be putting their heads to rest. And I can tell you that the best care, I believe, is going to be provided here. We have some of the most premier individuals coming from around the country, but also from LA County to provide mental health services, screenings, assessment, and intervening whenever necessary. Medical care will be number one. And as you can see, if you toured, there were two or three medical mobile vans, not mobile vans, but that are here structurally to help provide for immediate assistance around the clock. I can't begin to tell you how many other people might feel envious that these children are going to get the best health care 24 hours, 7 days a week. I also want to tell you how very proud I am that the Department of Children and Family Services of LA County is also partnering with us on all of these ventures. They are going to successfully, given their track record, help us unite these children in a very humanitarian manner. I also want to thank Alma Family Services again for stepping up. I couldn't think of a better partner to help us deliver services, wraparound services, case management to these youngsters. I want to thank SEIU Local 721. Those are one of our largest bargaining units that represent LA County. They too are calling up retirees to provide social welfare assistance. Retired social workers are signing up now to help us out, and more will come. I just want to underscore that the goal of this emergency intake site is to be able to partner and to provide a dignified, safe, comfortable, and caring environment. And I want to underscore temporary venue and robust with services that lend itself to quick and safe family reunification. With that, I am anxious to hear from our other elected officials that are here and welcome all of you. And please, the message today is about hope, about having a team of hope and growing that and wrapping our arms around our children. That's what today is for me. Thank you so much. Tim? Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Solis. At this time, I would like to invite Congressmember Judy Chu, who represents California's 27th Congressional District, up to the podium to share some brief remarks.
Supervisor Solis, Mayor Sandoval, we've just taken the tour of this facility, and I must say I am so impressed with the thought, care, and concern that I've seen displayed in the construction of this facility. And I say this in a way that is not casual because I have personally visited the detention centers all around the nation, around El Paso, the Dilley, Carnes, Clint, the El Paso border station, as well as the now closed Tornillo camp. I visited San Diego's Otay Mesa camp. And one thing I can say from my experiences, after having visited the Clint Border Station, which is where many of the children were put, you never want to have children put under the care of CBP, Customs and Border Patrol, because they were put in a horrible pit, all with one another, not able to get basic things like soap, toothpaste. They were running around with dirty diapers. CBP officials were just telling the older children to take care of the younger children, even though they were strangers. And the older children were housed in something that could be called a gigantic tin shed, which retained heat in the hot El Paso sun. So that is why it's so important to have transition facilities. You cannot keep them in CBP facilities. But you know what? The transition facilities are also not the same, because I also visited the Tornillo Detention Center, and that was for children as well, right outside of El Paso. The Tornillo Center could only be described as a grim prison. These were for children, and they were just marching single file. They were so sad. There was very little care given for them, and also they were languishing there for many, many months. And so there was a move to shut Tornillo down, and in fact the immigrant rights activists in El Paso had a 24/7 vigil to cut this off and shut Tornillo down. And that's why I introduced the Shut Down Child Prison Camps Act, to ensure that we would not have emergency influx facilities with these horrendous conditions. And in fact, Tornillo was shut down. So to come here and see such a contrast is really something. To see the care and concern that is being given to the children, where they have so much space, where they can have incredible recreation, where their education will be taken care of, their mental health, as well as their physical health. It is a huge contrast. And also, the huge contrast is the support of the community. As I said with Tornillo, the immigrant rights community wanted it shut down, and they were determined to make that happen. But here, you see the buy-in of the community to a degree that I just find absolutely astounding. So I know that there will be a lot of help for these children, and that they will get the support that they need to feel that they are welcome in this country. But most importantly, what I want to be assured of is that these children will only be here temporarily. And I just talked to the HHS manager in charge of this. He assures me that the standards for getting these children out are different from the days of Tornillo. And the Biden administration has ensured the resources will be there this time around to get the children where they need to be, with their homes, with their family, so that they can live a productive and high-quality life. So I have to congratulate all of you for coming together. It's such a substantial difference from what happened within the last 4 years of the Trump administration. We are in a whole new period right now, and the care and concern that I see for these kids is going to benefit them and the whole community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressmember Chu. At this time, I'd like to introduce Congressmember Jimmy Gomez, who represents California's 34th Congressional District, to say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, let me start by thanking Supervisor Solis, the City of Pomona, the Fairplex, as well as Churla, AMA Family Services, SEIU, Assemblymember Reyes, and just all the leaders who are making and working together to support the influx of unaccompanied immigrant children arriving at our borders. We, as Americans, have a responsibility to ensure we're providing safe and clean accommodations that recognize the dignity and humanity of individuals in our custody, especially when it comes to children. And as Congresswoman Chu said, as a member of the House of Representatives, we have been to a lot of these facilities over the past 4 years, over and over and over again, witnessing firsthand the treatment of asylum seekers at the permanent facilities and at the temporary facilities. I've even slept at the door of a gateway into the U.S. at the border with asylum seekers. And I got to witness what they experienced, that it is often sleeping on hard concrete, using the restroom in a bucket, waiting for food to be provided. It is also a situation where you get to hear the stories of some that other migrants who were traveling with, but got kidnapped and killed, lost along the way. These are the kind of stories and the trauma that a lot of these migrants and asylum seekers, especially the children, suffer as they go through. And the facilities, Congresswoman Chu is completely correct, are completely different. This facility here was a big shock. One, you can see the sky. And a lot of these facilities, they would tarp it over so you couldn't even see the sky. You would have you have trees. You have open spaces. You have an ability to recreate. I've been to one permanent facility from a nonprofit that I will not name, and their recreation area for the kids was 25 feet by 25 feet, and they would play soccer in that small space. Here you have football fields wide, not one, but multiple football fields wide, where they can spend their time and be in a situation where they can de-stress. But the trauma that these children experience is deep, it's real, and they need the support of not only a welcoming government, but a government understands that they need help with that transition. And then looking for the sponsors to connect with them is going to be a crucial step. Under the Trump administration, we saw that oftentimes the sponsors would be picked up. Just surprise, all of a sudden, they would be picked up. Undocumented immigrants out of millions would be picked up because there was a kid who was coming to reunite with them. That was a shameful act under that last administration. But I want to be clear that this is an immigration system that has been broken for a long time, that President Biden and his administration have inherited, and it's going to take a little bit of time to turn it around. So I want to thank President Biden for everything he's done to change the situation. But it will take time, and it will not happen overnight. But our job as members of Congress is still to provide the oversight necessary that our taxpayers' dollars are upheld, but also, more importantly, the values of what makes America a great country. So we still have a lot of work to do. So I want to say thank you to the County of Los Angeles for volunteering this site. And another big difference, I was shocked by the number of people. I thought it was going to be a walkthrough with just, 6 of us, 10 of us. I would say there was 50 or 60 of us doing a walkthrough with press. That is unheard of during the last administration. This is a completely different era, and I know that it's not going to be perfect, but we're going to make sure that it's more transparent, more equitable, and that it's a system that we can all be proud of. With that, I yield back to the mayor of Pomona. Thank you so much.
Congressmember Gomez, thank you for your words. At this time, I'd like to welcome Angelica Salas, who serves as the Executive Director for CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights, to say a few words. Angelica?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Angelica Salas. I am the Executive Director of CHIRLA, the Coalition for Humane Immigrant Rights. I was part of the delegation with the community partners that were also here, and I was joined by CARECEN, the Central American Resource Center, the Inland Coalition for Immigrant Justice, the Pomona Economic Opportunity Center, immigrant defenders who are representing the children, and also the Pomona Latino Roundtable, and many others. And so we are here. We toured the facility alongside our elected officials. We want to say thank you to our Supervisor Hilda Solis for her leadership and for really putting forward our entire county services on behalf of these children. We're here because we understand clearly that our responsibility is to care for these children. These are our children, and I agree with you, they are our children. We understand that HHS or our FEMA, alongside the contractor, Cherokee Federal, are working with us and all our local leadership to ensure that the children are treated with utmost care, that there is a welcoming spirit, a caring facility, a caring environment for these children. We know, however, that the best place for these children is in the hands of their parents, the hands of loving adults, in a home. That is our purpose, is to quickly reunite these children with their parents and with caring adults. We have to all work together towards this family reunification. We heard in the tour that the goal is 14 days for this reunification to occur, and that we also know that this is essential because every single day that a child is kept away from their loved ones, they suffer incredible mental and physical health and impact. And so we're also really glad to hear that they will be supported in their health care, but also in their mental health care and their spiritual care. And that matters so much for the well-being of these children. I also think that we want to be an example for the nation of what it means to be welcoming communities, what it means to understand that we have a responsibility to play and to really respond to the consequences of what we have called a broken system, but I call a very cruel immigration system. We also want to ensure that these children have the legal support that they deserve. So we will support immigrant defenders to ensure that the children have the legal, that their legal rights are upheld, that there is cultural and linguistic capacity so that these children can ask what they need in their own language so that they can communicate their needs to those who are caring for them here. And so we're extremely pleased that the Cherokee Federal has contracted with Cielo, which is one of the most important indigenous translators and who will support our families. Finally, CHIRLA is going to continue to work with the parents outside of this facility. We toured the Long Beach facility. We provided information to parents so that if their child is in one of these facilities, they can reach out to us so that then they can quickly work to make the call, get the paperwork done, and also have their rights protected. And so that is what we're also doing. Since we toured the Long Beach facility, on a daily basis, we've been getting about 30 to 45 calls from parents. They're confused many times about where their children might be. They're confused about the paperwork. We're trying to make sure that that they have all the information they need in order so that they participate in quickly reunifying with their parents. Finally, I just want to say, these children are suffering the consequences of the lack of action of adults who are elected officials, who should be taking care of fixing our immigration system so that this doesn't happen. This is a temporary facility, and it shouldn't even exist. But we need to push our elected officials to take action. We've heard it over and over again that we have a broken system. We need to fix it because those who are suffering are these children. So thank you very much, and we'll be able to answer additional questions later in Spanish. Gracias.
Thank you, Angelica. And our last speaker, David Green, who is the Vice President with SEIU Local 721 and Children's Social Worker. He will share some brief remarks as well. Come on up, Dave.
Thanks very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is David Green, and I'm the Vice President for SEIU Local 721. We represent 98,000 public sector employees. Our union is proud to be part of this landmark effort to care for thousands of vulnerable child refugees fleeing violence and instability in their home countries, because we're a union that cares for children literally. I myself have served as a children's social worker for LA County Department of Children and Family Services for over 20 years. We're excited to partner on this effort because it really is at the heart of who we are and what we do. We're pleased that our elected officials, LA County DCFS, and partner agencies listened to children's social workers about how to implement this historic effort, modeling it after the wildly successful upfront family finding program that frontline LA County workers helped create. By recruiting volunteers from the ranks of experienced social workers and matching them with qualified nonprofit partners, we're expanding resources to serve refugee children instead of depleting other crucial programs for children in LA County. We'll need to continue to work together to make sure we care for and protect all children in LA County, regardless of where they were born. I want to thank LA County Supervisor Hilda Solis and her incredible staff for taking the lead on this issue. I also want to thank DCFS Director Bobby Cagle for listening to and working with our union to find solutions that ensure all children are protected. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. At this time, we would now like to open it up to English Q&A.
Oh, you're going to hold?
Any questions?
Thank you very much. Is this on? There you go. Thank you. Jeff Schenkel, La Nueva Voz, Pomona's only community newspaper. First to Supervisor Solis, welcome back to Pomona. It's good to see you live again. We've had a number of our advertisers in Pomona's only community newspaper who are very interested in providing whatever support they can to this effort. And this may be a question more for HHS, but can you give us some direction that we can give to them in the event that they want to compete for contracts for anything from food services to haircuts to, just all sorts, laundry, all sorts of providers?
I think you're going to be very pleased to hear an update and report, and I'll ask our partners at Cherokee to please come forward and respond. We had a very good preview that most of the services that are being contracted out are local, so I'm sure he can go over that.
Thank you very much. John Boyle with Cherokee Federal, Group President, and really wanted to thank you for entrusting us with the children, right? We're treating these children as if they were our own. And when we first started this project, one of the things that I told everyone is that put yourself in the shoes of the child as they're coming through this journey to the U.S. and to unify with their families and supporting families. And so that's how we've been leading this effort, is to treat the children as if they were our own. And so you would be very pleased. We are working. We've embraced federal, county, state, and local, and then also local nonprofits, as well as the community for purchasing and also for staffing. And so Alma Family Services is supporting for case management. The carpet that we have that's laid down for the children is event floor professionals that did the Oscars. We have a number of local artists like Homeboy that's providing some of the art that you'll see throughout the campus. K-Rise bean bags, toys, electronics, Wonder Emporium, toys, stuffed animals, and then the actual owner was an immigrant that was an unaccompanied child as well. And so we're working across the board with artists and other. Spectra is our food service provider. But the list goes on and on. That's just a short list. And if there's other services that you'd like, provide us with the names, and we'll partner as it makes sense. Through HHS and Bonnie Preston. Okay, good. Sure.
Okay, 250 children tomorrow, 2,500 the maximum capacity. How do you guys are going to make sure that their safety is the number one priority, because there are too many events on this particular place?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So the campus that we have has been closed off, and it's going to be a very secure environment for the children. So we put safety first, a lot of things first, from healthcare to safety and well-being of the child. And so you would be very pleased of all of our security processes and what we put into place to make sure that the children are secure. Very good point. So starting when the children get here, if you do not have the thorough background check, you will not be able to be within the environment. And so absolutely, we have our lessons learned there.
Yeah, Josh Haskell with ABC7 Eyewitness News. Can you tell me the 250 children that are coming tomorrow, where are they right now? Where are they traveling from? Are they at another facility? And just talk about the long-term plan. How long will this facility be open for? And then what's next for the unaccompanied children that will be kept here?
Sure. So that's a great question, and so we don't have the demographics of the children at this point. We are positioned to take care of from the tender age up to 10%, 45% for 6 to 12, and from 13 to 17, 45%. So we're flexible to whoever arrives that we will have the best care for them. Good question. We have not received the news yet of the demographics and the children that are coming. We just know that Saturday is probably the best way forward. Oh, there you go. And
hello, I'm Bonnie Preston. I'm the Acting Regional Director for Region 9 out of San Francisco, and LA County is our largest population center for Region 9. So we are so pleased that the LA County Supervisor Solis really stepped up with all her departments and offered this amazing project, really, a group that we can work with. So lots of work going on here to get ready for the children tomorrow. And in terms of the countries that they're coming from, a majority are coming from El Salvador and Guatemala. We also have a few from Nicaragua, but mostly from those two countries right now, and Honduras also. And in terms of the children tomorrow will be arriving throughout the day, and that means that they'll most likely be traveling by bus from San Diego or Arizona, Yuma. And then, but we will also be getting children from the Rio Grande Valley and all the intake areas there. So we'll be taking children from everywhere to this site. That's what is so amazing about the site. We've got the space to accommodate different age groups and different genders. So really excited to finally get to open here, and it's very unique of all the temporary shelters we have, and largely because of this amazing community that has stepped up to offer the quality of services and also the outdoor opportunities. So thank you so much.
Is there a timetable for how long the shelters will operate for, and then what will happen to the children after the shelter?
Yeah, the terms of the agreement are we have every 60 days, we have an option to extend every 60 days depending on the Fairplex's availability. And the county has told us that it's it's looking like it's possible to the end of the year. So we're very pleased at that. Right. The goal is to reunite every child who comes here. So it's going to be children in, children reunited. So every time a child is reunited, we will have room for another one once we get up to capacity. Good? Okay.
Hi, I'm Nathan Solis with Courthouse News Service. Given that you're going to have so many children coming from Guatemala and El Salvador, do you have many interpreters who speak the indigenous languages coming to the facility that are going to be here permanently throughout the time
Yes,
they're here?
there's a particular organization, I think was mentioned earlier, the Cielo, that will provide all the different dialects and the different types of Spanish and native speaking dialects. So yes, that's going to be provided. That's one of the first questions that I raised when I began to think about how we're going to reach these children. And many, as you know, don't have any form of formal education. So it's going to be a challenge for all of us. And that's why I think the beauty of collectively working with local groups, organizations that are culturally competent and sensitive will be really helpful in helping our youngsters navigate this system. Any other questions? That's it.
Have your
question? Okay. Thank you.
Javier Rojas, Daily Bulletin. Is there any kind of estimate of how many children coming here have a family member or sponsor here in the U.S.?
I'm told by HHS about 80%. And we heard earlier on our tour that many of the children do have some form of contact with someone. So when they arrive here and they get settled, they'll be able to call within immediate hours that they arrive to be able to contact a loved one or someone that they have a phone number for, and we can help facilitate that. And there will be a separate center just for that intake to occur. So I think it's really fascinating the way the staff and everyone has come so quickly together to help provide that contact with the youngster and a family member or relative.
Thank you, and that is all the English questions that we have for now. We'll transition to Spanish remarks.
Supervisor, I'm actually going to invite you up again so you can share a few words in Spanish.
Thank you. Just briefly, buenos días. Soy la supervisora Hilda Solis, presidenta de la Junta de los Supervisores del Condado de Los Ángeles. Y gracias a todas las personas que están aquí con nosotros hoy día. Hoy nosotros tenemos representantes del Congreso, la congresista Judy Chu estaba aquí con nosotros, también la congresista Jimmy Gómez, la senadora Connie Leiva, líder de la asamblista de la mayoría, Eloise Gómez Reyes, y también el alcalde Tim Sandoval, que están aquí hoy día con nosotros. Nuestros socios con el Departamento de Salud y Servicios Humanos también están con nosotros y la Agencia Federal para el Manejo de Emergencias. Representantes aquí de Fairplex, que me da bastante gusto que nos están abriendo las puertas para dar este servicio a estos niños. Y especialmente quiero reconocer los representantes con la organización que se llama Cherokee Federal, que es el grupo donde están contratando el Departamento de Salud con ellos para mantener estos servicios aquí en el Fairplex. También quiero reconocer los servicios de Alma Family Services, que también están estacionados aquí en Pomona y también en San Gabriel y en de Los Ángeles. Van a tratar a tener servicios aquí para los niños mentalmente, de salud y muchas otras cosas. Quiero también agradecer la presencia de Chirla, Carecen, los defensores de inmigrantes y Inland Empire Coalition for Immigrant Justice. Hace casi 4 semanas que anunciamos que el Fairplex iba a ser un refugio seguro y temporal para los niños que no tienen acompañados parentes. Hoy estamos aquí para compartir que ya esperamos que los niños lleguen mañana. Pero quiero comenzar con mi gratitud. Como hija de migrantes también, el llamado para ayudar a estos niños es natural. Y sé que es cierto para muchos de los residentes que viven aquí en el condado, que también tienen la misma historia. La gran cantidad de apoyo ha sido increíble aquí. Como dije antes, esta no es una crisis fronteriza, pero una crisis de todos, en lo que todos tenemos que ser un parte de la solución. Estos son niños que tal vez han sufrido abuso, pobreza, violencia. Ellos están buscando refugio aquí en los Estados Unidos, como muchos de nuestros antepasados y familiares. El gran dolor que estos niños han soportado es algo que tenemos que tener responsabilidad y abordar. En las últimas 2 semanas hemos estado trabajando muy duro, día y noche, para tener todo listo, para dar la bienvenida a estos niños que van a llegar mañana. Estos preparativos incluyen un lugar donde canchas de fútbol, un espacio amplio para los que pueden conectarse con la naturaleza y jugar. También nos estamos asociando con artistas locales para pintar el espacio y mostrar el mejor de lo que ofrece la ciudad de Pomona. Van a recibir 3 comidas calientes y nutritivas cada día. La educación va a ser un enfoque muy importante también para estos niños. Agradezco el Distrito Escolar de Pomona y la Oficina de Educación del Condado por ser parte de este proyecto. Tendrán oportunidades de aprender por muchos. Es la primera vez que van a entrar en una escuela. Serán conectados con recursos basados en sus necesidades. Esto incluye servicios de salud mental por parte del Departamento de Salud Mental del Condado. La atención médica también será una pieza clave de esta operación. El Departamento de Servicios de Salud del Condado también dará atención médica. Lo más importante de esta misión es reunificar los niños con sus familias. Las familias deben de estar juntas, en mi opinión. Por eso vamos a tener el Departamento de Niños y Servicios Familiares del Condado apoyando también esta operación. Tienen mucha experiencia y éxito en estos problemas. También estamos trabajando con Alma Family Services y SEIU, el sindicato 721, para contactar trabajadores sociales para que puedan también donar su tiempo. Estos casos van a ser manejados de una manera efectiva y culturalmente sensitiva. Estos esfuerzos están basados en la idea de dar un lugar dignificado para estos niños. Nuestro condado es un lugar de refugio y esperanza. Y me da bastante gusto a poder apoyar el liderazgo de toda la gente que están aquí apoyando estos servicios, y al mismo tiempo quiero dar las gracias a la administración del presidente Joe Biden. Vamos a seguir luchando para estos niños y tener, ojalá, una reforma migratoria que va a traer soluciones para estas familias. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Supervisora Solis. Ahora me gustaría dar la bienvenida a Angélica Salas, directora ejecutiva de Chirla, para decir algunas palabras.
Buenos días a todos, Angélica Salas con Chirla. Tuvimos esta mañana la oportunidad de ver el centro de emergencia que va a servir como albergue para los niños inmigrantes. Y lo que nosotros pudimos ver es que el Departamento de Servicios Humanos, al igual con la Oficina de Ayuda al Refugiado, FEMA y lo más importante, el condado de Los Ángeles, con el liderazgo de nuestra supervisora Hilda Solis, se han unido con nosotros como organizaciones para asegurar que los niños tengan el lugar más adecuado, que les puede brindar lo que ellos necesitan para su cuidado, cuidado físico, cuidado emocional, cuidado educativo, pero también que tienen esa oportunidad de también cuidar su situación espiritual, porque estos niños han sufrido mucho. Nosotros lo que sí sabemos es de que en este momento estos niños necesitan de nosotros, son nuestros hijos, son niños que han pasado mucho y nuestro trabajo todos colectivamente es la rápida reunificación familiar. 80% de los niños tienen un padre aquí en los Estados Unidos, así que nosotros como CHIRLA vamos a trabajar con otras organizaciones, con el gobierno, para asegurar que las familias puedan venir hacia nosotros y si tienen cualquier pregunta, yo sé que muchos que nos han llamado tienen temor sobre su estatus migratorio, que nosotros podemos ayudarles a entender el sistema que rápidamente pueden utilizar para poder reunificarse con sus familias. Hemos estado recibiendo desde que ofrecimos nuestro servicio a estas familias, llamadas de entre 30 a 45 personas nos están llamando por día. Y nosotros decidimos abrir una línea directa para estos padres que va a empezar el lunes. Y ese número es el 213-201-3784. Lo que queremos decirle a los padres es de que su estatus migratorio no importa. Si usted tiene un hijo que quiere con el cual se tiene que reunificar. Sabemos también que a veces los documentos para ustedes pueden ser complicados. Nosotros estamos aquí para ayudarlos y también contestar cualquier pregunta legal que puedan tener. Hay personas que hablan español y vamos a trabajar también con organizaciones como Almas, Servicios para la Familia, para juntos trabajar para que ustedes puedan reunificarse rápidamente con sus hijos. Lo último que quiero decir es de que nosotros sabemos muy bien que lo que estamos viendo es la consecuencia de no tomar acción sobre la reforma migratoria por tantos años. Estos niños necesitan que los adultos tomen acción, tomen responsabilidad y finalmente se resuelva y se reforme el sistema que causa esta situación. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Angélica. Ahora lo abriremos para preguntas y respuestas en español.
Para la supervisora Hilda Solís, quisiera saber, sabemos que el objetivo es reunir a los chiquitos con sus familiares en Estados Unidos lo más pronto posible con un proceso, pero los padres que nos ven dicen, ¿qué tengo que hacer? ¿Qué tengo que llevar? ¿Cómo puedo comprobar que es mi familiar, que es mi hijo? O que los papás me lo están encargando. ¿Hay requisitos o qué tienen que hacer para lograr reunificarse con ellos?
Bueno, todo esto se va a implementar ya que llegan los niños mañana. Van a tener asistencia de personas aquí que tienen el equipaje para ayudar a las familias que llaman para saber si de veramente estos niños tienen relaciones con ellos. Son profesionales, las personas que van a estar aquí atendiendo las llamadas y pueden hablar también muy bien su idioma. Y queremos que también si hay necesidades de saber cómo aplicar, como dijo Cherla, Angélica, que vamos a tener ayudantes legalmente, representando también a las familias si necesitan ese apoyo para aplicar y para saber que no hay caso que vamos a hacer algo mal contra ellos ni con los niños. Queremos rápidamente a tener los dos reunidos desde pronto.
No, buenos días. Angélica, si es tan amable. Ayer el secretario Javier Becerra dio una declaración señalando de que aún no tiene certidumbre ¿cuántos de los 21,000 niños que actualmente el Departamento de Salud y Servicios Humanos tiene en custodia, muchos de los cuales van a llegar a este albergue, van a poder quedarse en los Estados Unidos? Esa es una pregunta. Y la otra es, ¿hasta dónde es la responsabilidad del secretario Mayorkas de tener el que haya tantos trámites para que salgan los niños de la custodia de CBP y sean de una manera más rápido entregados con la información que ellos obtienen de los niños, que puede facilitar la reunificación con sus familias? La de Becerra, por favor, y la de secretario Mayorkas. Gracias, Ángel.
Sí. Lo primero, escuché lo que dijo el secretario Javier Becerra sobre, ¿verdad?, la posibilidad de estos niños quedarse en este país. Lo que sí sé es de que estos niños tienen derechos y los niños van a tener también representación legal. Muchos de ellos tienen padres dentro del país y ellos van a tener esa representación dentro del centro, pero también vamos a ayudar a los padres y a los niños después de que salgan del centro. Nuestra perspectiva es de que la mayoría de estos niños se deberían de quedar con sus padres que están aquí, también ellos sin documentos. Por eso hablo sobre la reforma migratoria y la justicia que se tiene que dar, porque este es el resultado de no reformar nuestro sistema. Si los padres no tienen los documentos, no pueden ellos peticionar por ello. Esta es la única manera de reunificación familiar. Lo que sí está ocurriendo, por ejemplo, es de que el presidente Biden sí ha dicho que el programa, por ejemplo, de niños centroamericanos se va a utilizar para que de esa manera haya otras opciones para estos padres. Tenemos que pelear para que los niños se puedan quedar aquí en este país con sus padres y con adultos que los quieran y que los cuiden. Esa es para la primera pregunta. La segunda, sobre el secretario Mayorkas. La realidad es de que lo que estamos mirando es que este sistema está funcionando. Por ejemplo, usualmente los niños se quedaban en la custodia de la patrulla fronteriza por días. Ahorita el promedio ha bajado a 24 horas. Entonces, por eso estos centros son tan importantes, porque lo que ocurre es de que rápidamente los pueden sacar de la frontera, de los centros de patrulla fronteriza, traerlos aquí y rápidamente entender, ¿verdad?, cuáles son los contactos de sus padres, dónde viven. Los niños traen información, entonces trabajar con ellos. Pero también es muy importante que la comunidad entienda que no los podemos sacar tan rápido, porque también está su seguridad. Se tiene que asegurar que sí son sus padres. Los padres tienen que dar información sobre, ¿verdad?, que realmente conecta con estos niños, porque está la reunificación familiar de cuidado para estos niños, pero también es la seguridad para asegurar que no se les estén entregando a estos niños a traficantes humanos. Así que ese es de personas, ¿verdad? Entonces tenemos que asegurar que esos procesos ocurran. Así que esa es la respuesta. Pero yo veo que hay avance, ¿verdad? Estamos cambiando la realidad al tener este tipo de centros. Gracias.
¿Una idea de cuánto tiempo puede durar ese proceso entre la comunicación del menor con su padre o el tutor y
yo pienso que aquí todavía están personas, ¿verdad?, de servicios humanos, pero lo que sí nos dijeron hoy son 14 días. Pero por eso nosotros en Chirla estamos tratando de ayudar a los padres también, porque, ¿verdad?, tienen que ver si tienen documentos sobre los niños, su identidad, también asegurar, si los padres, por ejemplo, tienen una orden de deportación, tienen miedo, ¿qué va a pasar? Asegurar que tengan también respaldo los padres para que el proceso se complemente, lo que estamos haciendo afuera y lo que se está haciendo aquí adentro, para que esa reunificación ocurra. Okay, gracias.
Ok, básicamente son dos, no una. La primera es, ¿cuánto va a costar este programa? ¿Quién lo va a pagar? Y una vez que hayan encontrado ustedes a los familiares, Angélica, por favor, una vez que hayan encontrado los familiares de estos niños, si viven en Carolina del Sur, en Nueva York, en Texas y se encuentran aquí en Pomona, ¿quién va a pagar por trasladar a los niños o los padres tendrán que venir por ellos?
una pregunta que el Departamento de Servicios Humanos debería de contestar. I'm so sorry. So Health and Human Services, if you could answer the question. Okay, we can. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And that concludes today's press conference. Thank you.